So hello everyone, this is my fifth video on the NCERT 12th standard NCERT of history subject we are covering. So this is fifth video and today we will talk about Tipu Sultan, and already I have covered about the Hyder Ali, Tipu Sultan and other things. If you are new to my channel, then you can go back, and first of all it will be better if you will watch those videos. After that you can come to this video. Okay, so the Tipu Sultan, as you know, he was known as the Tiger of Mysore. His name was Sultan Fateh Ali Sahib. Okay, Sultan Fateh Ali Sahib, and his tenure was from 1782 to 1799. Okay, so now you can calculate for how many years he ruled. Okay, so already we have talked about the third Mysore war and third Anglo-Mysore war and fourth Anglo-Mysore war, and finally you know in 1799 in fourth Anglo-Mysore war he died in the battlefield. But we should know something more about him, as it is mentioned in the NCERT. If a question will come, then it will be important for you, as well as if you're preparing for the civil services. Minute details are very important, so your base should be very strong. That's why NCERT is always strongly recommended to read NCERT. So he introduced a new calendar, a new system of coinage and new scales of weights and measure. If a question will come whether this Tipu Sultan introduced something like this or not, so it should be clear in your mind. Yes, he introduced new calendar, new system of coinage, new scales of weights and measure. And why did he do that? Because he wanted to modernize his state, his people. So his effort was to bring the modernization, as he was a close ally of French people also, and he was quite impressed with this French Revolution also. Okay, and he had a big library, he had a very deep interest in diverse literature. And as I have told you, he had a keen interest in French Revolution, and you must be knowing that French Revolution started from 1789 and it ended up to I think 1799. From 1789 to 1799. Okay, he planted a tree of liberty at Srirangapatnam. It is very small thing, you must all be knowing. And he became a member of Jacobean Club. Okay, so it was an influential club. Mainly it was consist of some French people, so he became a member of Jacobean Club. He also sent his ambassador to France also, and to other countries also. Okay, and now when we talk about how he controlled his expenses, then first of all what happened, he tried to do away with the custom of giving jagirs. In other words, you can say he stopped giving jagirs, because he knew, because this led to extra pressure, extra you can say expenses, over expenses of the state revenue, and the state was not able to get its right share. So on the other hand, he attempted to reduce the hereditary position of the polygars. Now if you will wonder who were polygars, the polygars was a feudal title. Okay, it was given to those feudal peoples who have given power of administration at the local level of those particular area, as well as they were allowed to keep some military, or you can say troop or army also. So they have that military power as well as the administrative power, so that they can rule under that particular crown, but they have their own area, their own region, and they were the boss of that particular area. And finally the big boss was, obviously, that was the king, that was the Tipu Sultan. So what happened, he attempted to reduce the hereditary position of the polygars. Why did he do so? Because he wanted to bring capable people instead of the hereditary people, because it was not sure whether the people who will succeed that particular polygar will be able to do his job efficiently or not. So that's why he attempted to reduce the hereditary position of the polygars. Okay, and one thing more you should mind it, because if a question will come, what were the major things or the steps that was taken by Tipu Sultan to put effort to build to modernize his things, his state. So he also put effort to build a modern navy after 1796. And as you know, his army was very disciplined and trained, because he took the help of French people and he tried to give them best training and best things so that they can fight with anyone. Okay, now on the other hand, when we talk about his vision about the economic strength, he realized that economic strength is as equally important as the military strength, because if you are weaker at that side, if you don't possess revenue, if you don't possess money, if you don't possess material things, then you won't be able to move ahead for a long time. So that's why he took several steps to boost his economy as well as to generate more and more revenue. So that's why he took services of some foreign workmen, foreign people who were skilled, who had that skill, so that he can train his own man, and they can generate such skill, or they can be a plus point for his economy. So that's why he called some foreign people, and they gave them training, and finally that was also one of the reasons how he succeeded in bringing some new innovations, new things in his economy, or you can say in his state. So he developed industries, he laid the foundation of the silk trade and encouraged foreign technology also. Okay, as in today the Mysore silk is very famous. So now you can understand how he had a good vision. So he was keen interest not only in just making himself in the terms of military very powerful, he wanted to boost his economy and other things also, skill and crafts also. As we have discussed in our last lecture, that Hyder Ali had this he has developed an arsenal in Dindigul in 1755. Before he became a de facto ruler, even in 1755 he established a modern arsenal in Dindigul. Okay, so there was something they have done a good research, and they were quite successful in raising you can say building technology, rocket based technology. And his son Tipu Sultan, as he was more able than his father, so he took that technology one step ahead. So he worked to develop rocket technology and even used them against the Britishers. So if a question will come, who was the first Indian to use this rocket technology, so he was Tipu Sultan. Okay, now when we talk about his land revenue, that was quite high, because he was taking about 1/3 of the gross produce. Okay, 1/3 means too much. Suppose if you are earning 100 rupees, then around 33.3 rupees will be taken away by the king. So that was the major chunk that was taken away by the king. But on the other hand, he also tried to curtail all types of corruptions, illegal things, whatever the trade was going on, so that justice could be given. But the revenue was quite high that he used to take away from his subjects, or from the, you can say, from the peasants. Now once again I want to tell you again, I want to go back and want to tell you about, as we were talking about the rocket technology, so his infantry was armed with the muskets and the bayonets in fashion which were manufactured in Mysore. So now you can understand his arsenal, or these weapons, you can say, they were quite modern. And as I have already told you that he talked about a modern navy also. I should not say he talked about, instead I should say he put great effort to build a modern navy. Okay, so that's why he became a great threat to the English, and finally this English started hatching conspiracy to uproot Tipu Sultan. And as you know, he was an able commander, he was very brave, but in NCERT it is also written that he was hasty in action and unstable in nature. So that's why sometimes his decision didn't turn good, they didn't turn the way he expected. But yeah, he was a very able commander. And finally, after 1799, finally this English company, they captured Mysore. But even his enemy, they even realized that he was an able commander and he was a better king. That's why even the John Shore, the then Governor General, he wrote that from 1793 to 1798, the Mysore peasants were more prosperous than the peasant in British occupied India. He said that peasantry of the Tipu Sultan dominions were protected, they were laborious and rewarded. So this was the good things that was spoken about him from the mouth of his enemy. So anyways, so let's move ahead. Now we'll talk about Kerala. Okay, so at the beginning of the 18th century, as we are completing the chapter, this Indian states and the society in the 18th century, so already we are focusing on the 18th century. So at the beginning of the 18th century, Kerala was divided into large number of feudal chiefs and rajas. There were large number, but mostly there were 4 who were main, and you can say most prominent they were. So these were under the that was one state was Calicut, that was under the Zamorin, then was the Chirakkal, and that was Kochi, and after that there was a Travancore also. Okay, so these were the 4 important kingdom at that time. And you know, the kingdom of this Travancore rose into prominence after 1729, okay, under the king Martand Varma. If a question come about Martand Varma, don't get confused that he was a North Indian king. He was a South Indian king. He was the king of Kerala at that time, okay, a kingdom of Kerala. So you know, what he did, first of all, he subdued all the feudatories, okay, who were the feudals were there, who were raising their own power, who were strengthening themselves, and who were standing as you can say challenge against him. So first of all, what he did, he subdued all those feudatories, and he conquered the Quilin and the Eliadam, okay. And after that, you know, even he defeated the Dutch, and he ended their political power. So that's why you should keep it in mind. If a question will come, who was that king who has subdued, or you can say who has ended the political power of Dutch from Kerala? So that was the king Martand Varma, okay. And it is an important question, because you should know who has ended the political power of Dutch from Kerala. So that was Martand Varma. That's why I'm repeating it again and again. The other thing that was written here in NCERT about him, because you know, he was ally with European officers. So what he did, he constructed a modern arsenal and armed his army with the modern weapons, and he organized strong and modern army with the help of the European officers, as well as he expanded the boundaries of the Travancore from Kanyakumari to Cochin. So he can say he has expanded his boundary or his capital, as well as he, you know, he was a generous king. He was a king who used to worry about his subjects. So he took he used to take some lot of good works, or you can say he used to work for his people. So that's why he undertook many irrigation works. He built roads, canals for communication, as well as he encouraged foreign trade as well. Okay, now we will talk about the next king, that was his successor, that was King Rama Varma. Okay, if 3 markers will come about the king Rama Varma, then you can write that he was the king of Travancore, okay, of Kerala, of one of the kingdom of Kerala. He was a poet, he was a scholar, he was a musician, and he was a man of great culture, and he was very fluent speaker of English. So, and you know, in the second half of the 18th century, under his rule, the capital of Travancore was Trivandrum, okay. That became a very famous center of Sanskrit, okay. So you can say that they were great patrons of literature. And as well as during the mid of the 18th century, you will see there was a remarkable revival of the Malayalam literature. Okay, so this is important. You should also keep in mind. 3 markers can come about this, the king Rama Varma or the Martand Varma, anything. Okay, and one thing more I want to tell you about, that was the Hyder Ali invasion. You know, he invaded Kerala in 1766, and he annexed up to the northern Kerala up to Cochin, even some of the territories of the Zamorin of the Calicut also. So if a question will come, did this Hyder Ali, did he attack Kerala, or Konsi territories, what are the territories actually he captured? So then you should answer this, you can properly. Okay, if you will go through this NCERT thoroughly, then I think that your job will become quite easy. Okay, so now in the next video I will cover the next topic, that is the areas around Delhi, under which we will talk about some Rajput estates and some prominent Rajput rulers. After that, I think you will learn about 6, and after 6 we will cover about the rise and the fall of the Maratha powers, and later then we will talk about then society, then economy, and the social and economic condition of the people of the 18th century. So today I'm ending this video, and hope you will find it useful. If you have any issue, if you have any problem, just you can write down in the comment section what I can do what steps I should take for the betterment of this video. Kindly suggest me, and we'll meet soon with a new video. Till then, take care.